could have been born at any time in history, and the Most High Yahuwah chose for us to be here and now, a time when knowledge has increased and many go to and fro. We find ourselves in the time of the end according to the book of Daniel, and as we have seen, comes with both blessings and spiritual trials like no other. The book of Revelation, the field manual to the end times, tells us what to expect and how to prepare. What was obscured from the generations with parables and hidden understandings just waiting for these last days to be unsealed. While we may also not get everything right, we will be leaning on the Spirit of truth of the Most High Yahuwah Sebaoth in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach to reveal to us the proper understanding. For who knows if you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this. And welcome back, brothers and sisters. Shabbat Shalom to you. Welcome to the Parable of the Vineyard YouTube live stream Revelation Study Part 7. And doesn't matter if this is your first one that you've seen, if you're just stumbling across this. Basically what we're doing is a line-by-line study in the book of Revelation, and we are still in chapter 6. So a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. So let's get right into it. The book of Revelation has truly been veiled over the centuries, and I do believe Yahuwah has begun to unseal it over the past few years. Now, with that being said, let it be known that I'm merely a student of the Word and have felt to share the little bit of wisdom Yahuwah may have bestowed upon me, which means I won't get everything right through this study, and I ask you to test everything I say. This study will be so in-depth that even the new believer will be able to understand, and likewise the learned disciple should be also able to glean new information. Some concepts shared during this study may give you confirmations as to things that you already know, and some things may be new. So with all things, take all matters to Yahuwah in prayer, and He will guide you, because it's the Ruach HaKodesh that's within us that leads us to all truth, not a mere man. So with that being said, just consider me your brother and study partner, and let's dig in. So we're at chapter 6 tonight, but what I wanted to do, just because it's been a few weeks, I want to reread chapter 4 and 5 real quick. It takes just a few minutes just to kind of get us back up to speed, kind of where we're at, and then we'll get right back into verse 6. I want to talk a little bit more about the white horse rider. I think a lot of people misunderstood what I was trying to say with the white horse rider. It's not an easy topic. It's not a straightforward topic. There's quite a bit to it, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we'll move on, and we're going to finish up chapter 6 tonight. So, and then next week we're going to get into one of my favorite topics to discuss, which is the 144,000. So, at least when it comes to prophecy. So, with that being said, let's offer up a little bit of prayer, a little bit of petition to Yahuwah, and then we'll do a shofar blow, and then we'll get started. So let's bow our hearts. Oops. Hang on. Give me just a moment here. Okay, let's bow our hearts. Heavenly Father, Yahuwah, Most High, we just come before you in Yahusha's name. We truly thank you for reconciling us back to you through the blood of Messiah Yahusha and his free will offering for us and for sins. So we thank you so much for that. We know that there's no way back to you but through your word, through Messiah Yahusha, and we're just ever thankful. Abba, I also thank you for a hunger for your word that hasn't been seen in a long time, a hunger for your full word, to your Torah, to your obedience to your ways. We thank you for being able to gather like this, Abba, and strengthen each other. Even if we can't see each other, we know that we are still gathered per se, and we know that we're two or three gathered. There you are in the midst of us. So we pray you just open our eyes and ears to this study, and we pray that it's a blessing. And Abba, I just pray that you continue to work on every one of our hearts to realize that, we're not each other's enemy. When we have some differences in doctrine, Abba, just put it within our hearts to know that we are on the same team, and there's no need to be tearing each other down. So we honor you, we bless you, and send a multitude of hallelujahs to you. In Yahushua's name, amen. And all the people said, amen. So let's do a shofar blast, and which, by the way, a lot of you have been asking for a good place to get shofars, and I'm pleased to let you know that got a brother working on a site, shofars.com. So easy to remember, right? Shofars.com will be up pretty soon, so just keep an eye on that. So here we go. Okay, I think we're ready now. What do you all say? Let's, again, we're going to read through chapter 4, 5, just take a few minutes, and then we'll get right into chapter 6. Okay, and we will be reading from the CEPHER version tonight, as we always do. Which, by the way, I'm going to show you all this book a little bit later on, but excellent new book that I am excited to read tomorrow from the HalleluYah scriptures. Justin Best recommended this to me, but it's over 300 prophecies that Messiah Yahushua fulfilled that was prophesied for the Messiah. So I'm going to be reading into this tonight, not tonight, tomorrow during Shabbat. So anyways, I was excited to show that to you all. So, all right, here we go. No more delay. Revelation 4. After this I looked, and behold, a gate was opening in the heavens, and the first voice which I heard was as it were a shofar talking with me. Right, almost every time we see trumpet in the scriptures, the CEPHER actually got it right. It is the shofar. And the first voice which I heard was as it were a shofar talking with me, which said, "Come up hither, and I will show you things which must be hereafter." And immediately I was in the Ruach is the Spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper and a sardine stone. And there was a rainbow round about the throne, in sight like unto an emerald. And round about the throne were 24 seats, and upon the seats I saw 24 elders sitting, clothed in white raiment, and they had on their heads crowns of gold. And out of the throne proceeded lightnings and thunderings and voices, and there were 7 menorah, right? 7-branch candlestick of fire burning before the throne, which are the 7 ruachot of Yahuwah. And before the throne there was a sea of glass like unto crystal. And in the midst of the throne and round about the throne were 4 living creatures full of eyes before and behind. This is the cherubim, right? And the first living creature, in the KJV it says beast, right? And the first living creature was like a lion, and the second living creature was like a calf, and the third living creature had a face as a man, and the fourth living creature was like a flying eagle. And the 4 living creatures had, it says Yeshayahu, I think this is supposed to be Ezekiel. In the first chapter of Ezekiel is actually where we see the description of the 4 cherubim, which all 4 of them actually have 4 faces. They each have a face of a lion, a calf, a man, and an eagle. So I guess for each one of them, they had their face turned to where it was lion, calf, man, eagle. And the 4 living creatures had on each of them 6 wings about him, and they were full of eyes within, and they rest not day and night, saying, Kodesh, 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 Yahuwah Elohim Tsevaoth, which was and is to come. And when those living creatures give glory and honor and thanks to him that sat on the throne, who lives forever and ever, the 24 elders fall down before him that sat on the throne and worship him that lives forever and ever, and cast their crowns before the throne, saying, You are worthy, O Yahweh Eloheinu, to receive glory and honor and power, for you have created all things, and for your pleasure they are and were created. Isn't that so true? Okay, so chapter 5, and there's a few things I just want to dissect in chapter 5, and then we'll move on. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a CEPHER written within and on the backside, sealed with 7 seals, right? This is the book, the great book. So here you've got Yahweh, the Father, holding, right, holding the CEPHER, the book. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, Who is worthy to open the CEPHER, the book, and to loose the seals thereof? And no man in heaven, nor in earth, nor neither under the earth was able to open the CEPHER, neither to look thereon. And one of the things that we pointed out a few weeks ago when we were in this chapter is it says no man in heaven, right? So what are men doing in heaven at this point? And so what we deduced, if you haven't seen, it was actually part 5. We went over this because part 6 we spent 2 hours talking about the white horse rider. But in part 5, we talked about that. I believe that this is the great shofar blast. This is when we are taken up and gathered, right? And so it says, there was a voice speaking as a shofar talking with me, saying, Come up hither. And so John is being shown what happens ahead of time on the beginning of the day of Yahuwah, the day of the Lord, commonly known as the day of the Lord, right? And so John is immediately transformed into the Spirit and taken up into heaven. I believe that with the 144,000, which we're going to talk about next week, and the great multitude that follows with, I believe this is what's going to happen. And so here it's saying, right, and no man in heaven, because men are in heaven at this point, and I believe that heaven in this context is New Jerusalem. You know, maybe it hasn't touched down, maybe it's just hovering in the air, maybe we're literally going up into the heavens in New Jerusalem, but nevertheless, I believe we are going into New Jerusalem at this point, or not say we, whoever is found worthy of that honor, and no man in heaven, right? So what are men doing in heaven? Nor in earth, neither under the earth, right? So you've got men in heaven, or under the earth in Sheol, or in earth, so currently living, or under the earth in Sheol, was able to open the CEPHER, neither to look thereon. And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open and to read the CEPHER, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders said unto me, Weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Yehudah, right, of Judah, the root of David, has prevailed to open the CEPHER and to loose the 7 seals thereof. Amen. And so this is something interesting we'll be talking about tonight. You know, some people, there's so many teachings about this, and this is why I say, hey, listen, I'm not a teacher. I'm just a study partner. I'm just going to share my notes that I have on this and what I believe is going down here, because I've seen so many, and some people say that, you know, the first seal opened up when Yahusha was crucified, and when he resurrected and he went back up to the Father, he opened the first one there. Some people say it's over centuries. Some people say it's, you know, I think it's rapid fire. I think he literally just opens the book and all these things happen literally at one time. But we'll get to that a little bit later. So it says right here, even in verse 5 of chapter 5, before we even get to the opening of the seals, it says, has prevailed to open the book, so, and to loose the 7 seals thereof. So it's like he's kind of already done this. And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 living creatures, and in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb, as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 ruachot of Yahweh, sent forth into all the earth. And he came and took the CEPHER out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. And so this is one thing I want to bring up. You know, a lot of people still believe in the Trinity, where, you know, Messiah Yahusha isn't the Father, but he is the Father, and he isn't this Holy Spirit, but he is the Holy Spirit. And there's other teachings where, you know, Messiah Yahusha is the Father. So he was literally like praying to himself and talking to himself. But here we see a really clear-cut picture where it's really hard to deny that there is a literal Father and a literal Son. And it says right here, and he, so the Lamb, he came and took the CEPHER out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne. So So if he is the Father, what did he do there? Did he, like, you know? I don't want to be silly. I don't want to make fun. I'm just saying, but like, let's be reasonable with each other here. Let's reason with one another. I don't see any other way other than there being a literal Father and a literal Son, and we see it right here. And he, the Lamb, came and took the CEPHER out of the right hand of him, which is the Father. This is Yahuwah that sat upon the throne. And when he had taken the CEPHER, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them kitara, guitars or harps. I'll go with guitars. And golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of the Kodeshim, right? The saints who are set apart. This is what we're striving for, right? We are striving to be set apart unto Yahuwah, getting out of the ways of the world and getting out of the ways of the world religions and the false religions and the apostate religions, and going back and finding the ancient paths as it was spoken of in Jeremiah, right? Find ye the ancient paths, and ye shall find rest for your souls. And they sung a new song, saying, You are worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for you were slain, and have redeemed us unto Yahuwah by your blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation, and have made us unto our Yah kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. So let me ask you a question. I know it's a rhetorical question. Who has Yahushua made kings and priests, and who's going to reign on the earth? Those that are found worthy, right? Possibly you and I, if we are found worthy by the blood of the Lamb and by the keeping of his commandments, period. Right? So here in Revelation 5, before the seals are opening, or maybe at the same time when it's opening, before we even get into chapter 6, when we open the seals, who is here present with Yahushua? This verse right here is standalone, telling you who's there, who's singing this song. And you have made us unto our Yah kings and priests. Does he make the 24 elders? Does he make the well? I guess the 24 elders would be as well. But the living creatures, the angels. No, we are the kings and priests. Right. That was actually right here in the beginning of Revelation 1. Where is it here? Here we go. Verse 1 and 5, and from Yahushua HaMashiach, who is the faithful witness, and the firstborn of the dead, and the prince of the kings of the earth, unto him that loved us, and washed us from our own sins in his blood, and has made us kings and priests unto Yahuwah and his Father. To him be glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. And you can see right here, actually, in Shemot, Exodus 19, it's actually 19:5 and 6 kind of together. But this is the same thing that Peter pulls from, that we are peculiar people, a holy nation, a royal priesthood. So it was prophesied from the very beginning, and that's what he's always wanted for his people, is to be a kingdom of priests. So again, have made us unto our Yah kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. This is the people that are singing the song. These are the Kodeshim, the worthy ones that are singing the song. And I beheld, and I heard a voice of many angels round about the throne, and the living creatures, and the elders, and the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000s, and thousands of thousands. And Daniel 7:10, and this is actually really important here. This actually confirms what I'm talking about. Daniel 7:10. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him. We know the angels are ministering spirits. And 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, and we know, and you can see right, and the books were opened. This is the same thing that we're talking about here in Revelation 5. And just to show you, as far as standing before him, remember Luke 21:36, one of my favorite verses. Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. So may we be found worthy for that. Saying with a loud voice, Worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing. And every creature which is in heaven and on the earth and under the earth, and such as are in the sea and all that are in them, heard I saying, Blessing and honor and glory and power be unto him that sits upon the throne, and unto the Lamb forever and ever. And the 4 living creatures said, Amen. And the 24 elders fell down and worshipped him that lives forever and ever. Amen. So now we're caught up, and we're going to get back into the 7 seals. And I do want to talk a few things about the white horse rider, because I think a lot of you might have misunderstood what I was trying to say. Plus, there's some other ministries teaching some really interesting things about this as well. And I know some of you have asked me about it and asked me what I thought about it. So let's talk about it. So let's read verses 1 and 2. Revelation 6. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder, which is really interesting because none of the other seals do you hear this thunder, right? But maybe it's just giving you this description, and it's assumed that the rest of the seals are opened with thunder. But again, I'm kind of thinking he's just opened the book, But we'll see. Noise of thunder. One of the four living creatures saying, "Come and see." And what is going on here? Some of you were kind of rebuking me, saying, why is one of the four beasts beckoning, the white horse rider, come and see? No, he's actually beckoning John here, right? Come and see, like, come here and look what's happening. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, right? The Greek word here, toxon. We'll talk a little bit about that. And a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer, which is, I think, is honestly not the best translation here on any of the versions. And I'll show you because we'll look at the Greek on this. But let's take a look. Let's take a look at what's going on here. So this is the verse, Revelation 6:2, right? And I saw and behold a white horse. So first thing I want to take a look at is let's take a look at this descriptor, the color descriptor here for the white horse. Greek word here is leukos, or I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right? Leukos. And it's been translated as white every single time. And light, bright, brilliant from whiteness, dazzling, of the garments of angels and those exalted to the splendor of the heavenly state, shining or white garments worn on festive or state occasions. Anyways, we'll see what we're seeing here. And let's take a look. Let's take a look. See here. Okay, so this is all the same descriptions we just saw, but let's take a look at all the times it was used. So talking about white hair, and so here we go. Almost every out of the 25 times this word was used, I think 23 of them were used to describe Yahusha in some way, or the Kodeshim. So right here, this is the transfiguration on Mount of Olives. Right, his face was like the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. Here we go again. His countenance was lightning, and raiment was white as snow. This is Yahusha again, exceeding white as snow. And this is the tomb. They saw the two angels. He had a long white garment. Again, Yahusha, his raiment was white and glistening. So almost every see this angels were white. So it's describing this brilliant white garment they're wearing. Revelation 1:4. Here now we're in Revelation. So every time in Revelation, it's either describing Yahusha, this whiteness, or the Kodeshim. So his head and his hairs were white like wool, white as snow. A promise to the churches that overcome, the ecclesia, a white stone, right, of purity. Let's see, the white garments that the worthy will be given, right? He that overcomes the same shall be clothed in white raiment. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment. Revelation 4:4, clothed in white raiment, the 24 elders. And then here we go, Revelation 6. And I saw, behold, a white horse. So nothing about this verse or this word gives us any description of anything but something pure. Nothing. So a lot of people say this is the Antichrist, and a lot of people were rebuking me, saying, Adam, you're saying that to look out for the Antichrist, right? But none of this describes anything that has to do with him. None of it. White robes that is given to the 144,000, right? White robes. White robes. White cloud that he's sitting on. And then here we go again, Revelation 19, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. The armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in linen with white and clean. And then last but not least, I saw a great white throne. So I've beat this point to death here, but I wanted to show you that every single instance of this, except for literally the very first one, which was talking about just you can't make your hair white or black. Every single other instance was in a sense of purity. Next, let's take a look at the word bow. Okay. Now, the Greek word is toxon, and a couple of you have come to me because there's a teaching out there that toxon is in regards to like something toxic or something vile or something relating to like this coronavirus or something. So essentially alluding to the white horse as what's going on right now, and that this virus has been released, and so maybe this is the white horse rider. And so what they're saying is that toxon is the base and root word for toxic. The word toxic we get in English like a poison, and which what's interesting is the one part of this that's true is that yes, they would the archers would actually dip their arrows in that kind of toxic poison, whatever, and they'd have these toxic arrows that they'd shoot. But that doesn't mean that this word bow here means something toxic. It's just it's something that was pulled from it. So let me show you a couple things here. First of all, in the Septuagint, right? In the Septuagint here, let me show you. In the Septuagint, which was the Greek scriptures, the word that was used was keshet? Yeah, keshet, which is bow. So it does confirm that this is literally talking about a bow. And let me show you here. Let me explain what I'm talking about. So anytime that this same word that we see here, toxon, that was used in the Greek Septuagint, when it was translated into Hebrew, it's keshet, right? Or translated from the Hebrew, excuse me, it was translated from keshet. And let's zoom in here. I'll pause you right there. So keshet. And so this is the definition: bow, bow for hunting, battle, bowmen, archers, bow figuratively or might, or even rainbow, right? So it's definitely something bent here, like a bow. But moving a little further, let's take a look at some more of this Greek here, because I want you guys to really get the best understanding of what's going on here. So here is toxon, right? Possibly a cognate of Latin taxus, or borrowed from Iranian. Compare Persian taxus, means crossbow. And again, here you got a bow, rainbow, arc, anything which is bowed or arched. And so here is some derived terms that came from toxon. You have toxikos, right? Toxikos is right here, which means toxikos means bowmanship, archery, right? Or slot hole or loophole of persons skilled in the use of the bow, and in neuter collectively bowmen, right? So, and here you can see the poison for smearing arrows with it. You can see everything here has to deal with bows. We can't get away from what the word actually means. We can't just take a thought and then kind of run with it and teach something completely different. So, and here's another word derived from toxon, which is toxotes, which means archer or bowman, and it is the name for Sagittarius. The Greek word for Sagittarius is toxotes, which we'll just take just to verify that here. Oops. We're not going to really get into this because we're not going to get into astrology here, but Sagittarius, right? The Greek word here is toxotes. So you can see here that toxon does not mean poison. It means a bow. Again, toxotes here meaning an archer. So just wanted to share a little bit of that with you as to the true meaning of that name and how it should be applied, and just to see if we're on the right path here or not. So let's see, what else did I want to show you here? So let's see here. So I want to take a look also at the root word of, let's see, the root word. Oops. We're going to take a look now at conquering. No, what am I doing here? Hang on. I thought I had this up here. Tikto. Hang on. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. So the root word of toxon here is, it says right here, it says from the base of tikto, And what's really interesting about this is the word tikto means to bring forth or to be delivered, to be born, to be in travail, to bear. And for a lot of you that have been with us for any length of time, we've talked a lot about this bringing forth, right? Which is really interesting, and it really goes hand in hand with what I've been understanding as to what's literally happening here in this first seal. And we can look here. Let's see. Actually, we'll take a look at conquering in a second. But it's so the root word for bow is tikto, which it means to bring forth, to bear, produce fruit of a woman giving birth, the earth bringing forth its fruits. So this is really interesting here, and I just wanted to show you a couple things that this reminds me of what I believe is happening at the beginning. So I believe at the beginning of the day of Yahuwah, I believe that Messiah Yahusha is gathering us unto him, and we will be, or whoever is found worthy at that point will be victorious and will have overcome. So Revelation 12:1-5, but talking about the word tikto, which is to bring forth. Let's talk about this real quick. And there appeared, this is Revelation 12, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. If you haven't seen it, I really do believe that actually verses 1-2. So, and she being with child cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. I really believe that this, with the fulfillment of this in the heavens, happened September 23rd, 2017. Okay. If you haven't seen any of that kind of stuff, you can take a look at the channel. Right at the homepage, you'll be able to see like Revelation 12 sign in 3 minutes and 5 minutes. So in like 8 minutes, you can kind of get up to speed of what happened up there in the heavens and what alignment happened. It's an alignment that happens once in 7,000 years. So, and there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew a third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. Right, ready to be delivered. So that's that word tikto. And she brought forth. There's that same word tikto. She brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto Elohim and to his throne. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. I believe what's happening here is the man-child is the 144,000 and the great multitude that we're going to be reading about next week in chapter 7. Isaiah 66, 7-17, before she travailed, she brought forth. This is in Hebrew here, but this is the same understanding, the bringing forth. Before her pain came, she was delivered of a man-child. Who has heard such a thing? Who has seen such things? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day, or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children. Shall I bring to the birth and not cause to bring forth, saith Yahuwah? Shall I cause to bring forth and shut the womb, saith thy Elohim? Rejoice ye with Jerusalem. I believe this is New Jerusalem. Rejoice ye with Jerusalem, and be glad with her, all ye that love her. Rejoice for joy with her, all ye that mourn for her. That ye may suck and be satisfied with the breasts of her consolations, that ye may milk out and be delighted with the abundance of her glory. For thus says Yahuwah, behold, I will extend peace to her like a river, and the glory of the Gentiles like a flowing stream. Then ye shall suck, and ye shall be borne upon her sides, and be dandled upon her knees. As one whom his mother comforteth, so will I comfort you, and ye shall be comforted in New Jerusalem. And when you see this, your heart shall rejoice, and your bones shall flourish like an herb, and the hand of Yahuwah shall be known towards his servants, and his indignation towards his enemies. So this is literally what happens at the beginning of the day of Yahuwah. Mercy to the righteous, indignation towards the unrighteous, and the hypocrites, and the unfaithful. For behold, Yahuwah will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger and fury and rebukes with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword, we know that the Torah is like fire, and his sword, which we know the word of Yahuwah is sharper than any two-edged sword, will Yahuwah plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahuwah shall be many. I was going to stop there, but I was like, man, while I'm here, I got to read this just in case anybody out there is still eating pork. You may want to think twice about that. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh. The swine is the pig. and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith Yahuwah. And if you don't understand why, you can actually check out last week's Torah portion, week 26. It was we went through Leviticus 11, which is the Father's everlasting commands about what is meat, considered food for us, and what's not. And common food like pork, like the pig, shellfish, lobster, clams, crab. The Father says is not food for us. So you're either going to trust him that that's the truth, or you're not going to trust him. But again, in a prophetic standpoint, it's really tricky place to be eating pork when he comes back. Micah 5:3-15. Don't take my word for it. If you're still eating pork, take it to the Father in prayer. I'm not here to tell you what to do or not to do, but the scripture says what it says. So Micah, last one on this section, we're going to move on. Micah 5:3-15. Therefore he will give them up. This is the talking about Israel, right? His children. Therefore he will give them up, right? Give them up until the time that which she travaileth hath brought forth. There's that same term, that same meaning here, the bringing forth. So it's interesting that the white horse rider has a bow. And the root word for that, right? It derives from a deliverance. So like that bow brings deliverance is kind of what I'm getting at here. Then the remnant of his brethren shall return unto the children of Israel, and he shall stand and feed in the strength of Yahuwah, in the majesty of the name of Yahuwah his Elohim, and they shall abide. For now shall he be great unto the ends of the earth, and this man shall be the peace. When the Assyrian shall come into our land, and when he shall tread in our palaces, then we shall raise against him 7 shepherds and eight principal men. Here, right here. Verse 7. And the remnant of Jacob. Jacob is another term for Israel, the people of Israel, and hopefully you know by now that you who believe in Messiah Yahusha and keep his commandments, you are Israel. Whether you understand or not, but you are. And the remnant of Jacob, Israel, shall be in the midst of many people, right? So just scattered around. In the midst of many people as a dew from Yahuwah, as the showers upon the grass that tarrieth not for man, nor waiteth for the sons of men. And the remnant of Yaakov, Jacob, shall be among the Gentiles, the nations, right? In the midst of many people as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the sheep, the flocks of sheep, who, if he go through, both treadeth down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver. So the remnant of Yaakov, right, will become part of his army. Thine hand shall be lifted up upon thine adversaries, and all thine enemies shall be cut off. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahuwah, that I will cut off the horses out of the midst of thee, and I will destroy thy chariots. Which I believe this is going to be, transportation. Maybe this is why they talk about EMPs and stuff. Because one day I think Yahuwah is going to be like, all this stuff's gone. No more cars, no more buses, no more trucks, no more whatever. Gone in 1 second. And I will cut off the cities of thy land, and throw down all thy strongholds. And I will cut off witchcrafts out of thine hand, and thou shalt have no more soothsayers. Thy graven images also will I cut off, and thy standing images out of the midst of thee, and you shall no more worship the work of your hands. And I will pluck off thy groves out of the midst of thee, so will I destroy thy cities. And I will execute vengeance in anger and in fury upon the heathen, such as they have not heard. So this is not going to be a good day for people that do not believe in Messiah Yahushua and are keeping his commandments. It's going to be a really, really rough time. Okay, so now let's move on to this last part here, and then we're going to move on from this. So he went forth conquering and to conquer. Let's take a look at that really quickly. Let's look at the interlinear here, right? So and he was given to him a crown, which we know Messiah Yahushua was given a crown, and he went forth overcoming, that he might conquer, is kind of a better understanding here. Let's take a look here, and this is that word nikao that's used here, right? To conquer, to prevail, victorious, overcome, prevail, subdue. And long story short, and what's interesting here is so many times it was used in the context of overcoming. We can see it here in like Revelation, right? To the churches, to he that overcomes, to he that overcomes, to him that overcomes, he who overcomes. So you can see this is that same word that's being used here for conquering, right? He that overcomes. So what's really going on here when this happens, right? So you can see here, almost every single time it was used, he has overcome. But when we get to Revelation 6:2, they decided to put and to conquer, and to conquer. And then, of course, every other one overcame. So why was it used to conquer that one time? I don't know. Well, the translators translated a lot of things wrong. Most notably, like Acts 20 verse 7, where it talks about how they met on the first day of the week, but the Greek there was Sabbaton, which means Sabbath, and they changed it to first day of the week, right? And that perpetrated solidified the Catholic Church changing the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. Some really nefarious stuff here. And so, why would they want to change prophecy? Come on, let's be honest with each other. Okay. And so, why do a lot of people think that this white horse rider is the Antichrist? Well, I'll show you. It stems from Second Thessalonians 2:1-4. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Adonai Yahushua HaMashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that the day of Mashiach is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and the man of sin will be revealed, the son of perdition. So this is what everybody's waiting for. They're waiting for a falling away from the faith, and for the Antichrist to show up on the stage and be like, I'm standing in the temple, and I'm declaring that I'm God. That's not what's going to happen at all. We'll be talking more about that as we get further along the studies. But as far as the falling away, I'm here to tell you that after the early apostles died off, they fell away from the faith. We've been in apostasy ever since, I'd say at minimum, 300 AD with Constantine, right? And that whole period. So I think we've been in apostasy, and we've fallen away for over 1,700 years, probably even longer, but I think that's just at least a start there. So there has been a falling away, and the man of sin being revealed, the son of perdition, that's already happened. That is absolutely happened. And the temple of Elohim is not it's not going to be a third temple. You are the temple of Elohim. We have the temple of Elohim. The Ruach should be dwelling within us, right? We are the temple of Elohim. So as far as the Antichrist being revealed, brothers and sisters, 1 John already told you about it. Little children, it is the last time, and as you have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now, in his time, are there many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us. But they went out, that they might be made manifest that they were not all of us, right? So apparently, some people are hanging out with him that, left. But you have an unction from the Holy One, and you know all things. I have not written unto you because you know not the truth, which we know the truth is the Torah. The truth is Messiah Yahusha. He's the whole word. But because you know it, and that no lie is of the Torah, the truth. Who is a liar but he that denieth that Yahusha is the Mashiach? He is Antichrist, that denies the Father and the Son. We were talking about that a little bit earlier, about having a father and a son. Whosoever denies the Son, the same has not the Father, right? So if you don't believe that Yahuwah Sevaot, our Heavenly Father, gave us of His Son, right? If you deny His Son, you're denying Him too. It's pretty tricky when you think that there's no Son, that He's just the Father. He that acknowledgeth the Son hath the Father also. He's repeating it, right? Let that therefore abide in you, right? He's like, let this penetrate you. Let it be inside of you, that there is a Father and a Son, which ye have heard from the beginning. If that which ye have heard from the beginning shall remain in you, ye also shall continue in the Son and in the Father. What did we hear from the beginning, right? To keep His commandments, to hearken to His voice, to follow His ways. And this is the promise that He has promised us, even eternal life. The things I have written unto you concerning them that seduce you, right? There's people out there that want to take you away from the Torah, that take you away from the commandments. But the anointing which you have received of him abideth in you, and you need not that any man teach you, myself and everyone else on YouTube included, right? Because there are no churches anymore. The church is dead. The church is gone. The American church is gone, right? Because the government said so. So, anyone online is not your teacher. I'm not your teacher. None of those guys are your teacher. Who abides in you, right? The Ruach. But as the same anointing teacheth you of all things, and is truth, and is no lie, even as it has taught you, you shall abide in him. And now, little children, abide in him, that when he shall appear, we may have confidence, and not be ashamed before him at his coming. If you know that he is righteous, you know that everyone that doeth righteousness is born of him, right? And just to throw this in here, Proverbs 4:1-2, hear ye children the instruction of a father, and attend to no understanding. For I give you good doctrine, forsake ye not my law, my Torah. The Hebrew word here is Torah. Proverbs 6:20-23, this has a lot to do with the wise and the foolish virgins, and it has a lot to do with coming out of her, coming out of the false ways, coming out of false religion. My son, keep thy father's commandment, and forsake not the Torah of thy mother. Bind them continually upon thine heart, and tie them about thy neck. When thou goest, it shall lead thee. When thou sleepest, it shall keep thee. And when thou awakest, it shall talk with thee. For the commandment is a lamp. Remember, all the virgins had a lamp. And the law, the Torah, is light, and reproofs of instruction of the way of life. And the light is supposed to shine forth from the lamp, right? And we learn in Leviticus 24:2. Might as well just pop it up here real quick. We learn in Leviticus 24:2 that the children of Yisrael command the children of Israel that they bring unto thee pure olive oil beaten for the light to cause the lamps to burn continually. So the olive oil is it's the keeping of the commandments. It's the pressing of the oils. It's what's needed for the light to shine, and we know the light is the Torah. So it's your obedience to that which is what makes the light shine. So the foolish virgins did not have any oil. They did not have any obedience for that Torah, for that light to be shining within them. Very easy. Simple stuff. Okay, so and as far as the Antichrist, if you have not seen this video yet, I would recommend you take a look at it. This is on this channel. It's called Antichrist Revealed Documentary. Definitely ruffled some feathers, but I still stand behind it. I believe it is the truth. So, in this matter. So, anyways, now we can move on. Well, actually, here now, let's bring this home of what's going on. I really think is going on here. Isaiah. Let's see. How are we doing here? Okay, Isaiah YHWH 21:1-9. The burden of the desert of the sea, as whirlwinds. We saw this in Isaiah 66, where that Yahuwah comes with whirlwinds, right? As whirlwinds in the south pass through, so it cometh from the desert, from a terrible land. A grievous vision is declared unto me. The treacherous dealer dealeth treacherously, and the spoiler spoileth. Go up, O Elam, besiege, O Media. All the sighing thereof have I made to cease. Therefore are my loins filled with pain. Pangs have taken hold of me upon me as the pangs of a woman that travaileth. We just read that in Isaiah 66, if you remember. And in Micah, right? He'll give them up until she that who is with child travails. We saw in Isaiah 6, as soon as she travailed, she brought forth her children. So this is the beginning of the day of Yahuwah, when this destruction comes, and I believe that we are, or whoever is found worthy is taken up and gathered. I was bowed down at the hearing of it. I was dismayed at the seeing of it. And I'm not talking about the church teaching, the modern day rapture teaching. That's what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about his sealed 144,000 and the great multitude that go along with them. Probably a couple million people is a guess. It's a guess. My heart panted, fearfulness affrighted me. The night of my pleasure hath he turned into fear unto me. Prepare the table, watch in the watchtower, eat, drink, arise, ye princes, and anoint the shield. For thus hath Yahuwah said unto me, Go, set a watchman, let him declare what he seeth. And he saw a chariot with a couple of horsemen, right? makes me think of what we're talking about now tonight with what they call the four horsemen, right, of the apocalypse. A chariot of asses and a chariot of camels, and he hearkened diligently with much heed. And he cried, "A lion, my lord, and I stand continually upon the watchtower in the daytime, and I am set in my ward whole nights." And here's what's happening, I believe, at the beginning of the day of Yahuwah. This is what I believe the white horse rider is doing, is gathering his elect and destroying Babylon, mystery Babylon. And behold, here cometh a chariot of men with a couple of horsemen, right? I believe that this is indicating what we're talking about tonight. And he answered and said, "Babylon is fallen, fallen, and all the graven images of her goods hath broken unto the ground." So I believe that this is mystery Babylon being broken down. Revelation 14, 1 through 13. We're going to kind of, let's see. Well, yeah. "And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on Mount Sion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder," right? This is what I was saying earlier with, right? And there, as it were, the noise of thunder, right? And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. So here we are. Where was it? Yeah, singing the new song, right? And we saw earlier, right here. I'm sorry. Everyone having it with them, kitara, guitars or harps, and they sung a new song. So here we are again. Thunder. Voice of harpers or guitaras, right? Harping with their harps or with their guitaras, and they sung as it were a new song. So, same thing. They sung as a new song. So, it's the same thing. What you have to understand is Revelation is like parenthetical. You'll get a little snippet here, like in chapters 4 through 6, and then you'll get it in 14, and then you get it in 19, and it tells like the same story over and over. And this is like, I mean, no wonder. This is like the most hard to understand book there is, period, ever in the history of the world. So it's not going to be easy. And I'm not saying I have it down. I'm just saying, hey, we got to look at what's actually being written here, right? So, and they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the four elders. So this is what we're seeing. This is the throne room scene that we just saw in chapter 4 and 5. "And before the four beasts and the elders, and no man can learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth," which the two songs are, the Song of Moshe. There is some dispute whether it's Exodus 15 or Deuteronomy 32. I'm open to both. I personally think it's Exodus 15. And the Song of the Lamb, which we just actually read in chapter 5. "These are they which were not defiled with women," right? This is not people that literally have not had intercourse with women. This is a spiritual virginity coming out of the woman, the harlot. And what was the harlot's great offense is that she went a whoring with the nations and, celebrated other Elohim and even tried to worship Elohim by other ways, by the ways of men and the ways of false religions. "For they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto Elohim and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne." There is no human being in this earth that was born, right? There's not 144,000 that were people that were born that were virgins, and has never said a curse word in their life. This is a spiritual purity because they've been redeemed and they've put off the mortal and have put on the immortal. This right here, "and in their mouth was found no guile," you can find this tying to Israel. Zephaniah 3. Let's see. Right here, Zephaniah 3:13, "The remnant of Israel shall not do iniquity, nor speak lies, neither shall a deceitful tongue," right, no guile in their mouth, "deceitful tongue be found in their mouth, for they shall feed and lie down, and none shall make them afraid. Sing, O daughter of Zion, shout, O Israel, and be glad and rejoice with all thy heart, O daughter of Jerusalem. Yahuwah hath taken away thy judgments, he has cast out thine enemy," right? "The King of Israel, even Yahuwah, is in the midst of thee, and thou shalt not see evil anymore." So this is that awesome day that we are waiting for. "And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear Elohim, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and sea and the sea, and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. So this is what I'm talking about. This is what's happening on that day. Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And and we'll be talking a lot more about the identity of Mystery Babylon later on as we get. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Elohim, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. So that Antichrist video I was showing you guys earlier, super important. There's also another video I put out about a week or two ago called Avoiding the Mark of the Beast. It's super simple. Yahuwah, our amazing Father, made it so easy to avoid all this nonsense. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Elohim and the faith of Yahusha. Right? So this is what this is saying. I believe this is saying. Remember, I'm just your study partner. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Elohim. And I believe that he's talking about right here. These are those that keep the commandments and what they've acquired. Now here, and I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, right, blessed are the dead which die in the Adonai from henceforth. So starting from right now, everybody who dies, right? Because I believe that the foolish virgins, I believe the wise virgins are going to be yanked out of here. I fully believe that. I really, really do. The foolish virgins, I believe, are going to be here, and I believe that they're going to have to, right, get their heads cut off, whatever that method's going to be. Blessed are the dead which die in the Adonai from henceforth. So he's like, this just happened, right? The 144,000 are taken up, and the great multitude are taken up and glorified and given everlasting garments, and they're on top of New Jerusalem with Messiah Yahusha, right? And people are going to see this, and they're going to be like, huh? What? Huh? Lord, open unto us, right? So this voice from heaven saying, right, blessed are they that which die in the Adonai from henceforth. So you're going to have to die. You were willing to make yourself ready. So you are now going to have to give up your life in order to make it. Because it says, blessed are those that are beheaded, and because they get to rule and reign for 1,000 years as well. Yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. Okay, Zechariah 6, 1-8. And I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, there came 4 chariots from out between the 2 mountains, and the mountains were of brass. What's interesting about this, and we're not going to read it for time's sake tonight. If you want to read Enoch, was it Enoch 22, I think? Maybe it's Enoch 22. I'll try to get you the exact passage later. But in Enoch 22, when the millennial reign happens, and Yahusha is ruling and reigning, it said there was mentioned 7 mountains, and it was like a mountain of gold, a mountain of silver, a mountain of iron, a mountain of copper, and there were only 6 mountains mentioned, and the only precious metal that wasn't mentioned was brass. So that's really interesting about this. In the first chariot were red horses, and then the second chariot black horses, and then the third chariot white horses, and then the fourth chariot grizzled and bay horses. Then I answered and said unto the angel that talked with me, what are these, my Adonai? And the angel answered and said unto me, these are the 4 spirits of the heavens which go forth from standing before the Adonai of all the earth. Right, so they're standing before Yahweh of all the earth. The black horses which are therein go forth into the north country. So what's interesting about Zechariah is it shows that the black horse goes first, and then the white horse goes after them, and the grizzled go forth towards the south country, and the bay went forth, which is symbolized as the red horses, and sought that they might walk to and fro throughout the earth. And he said, "Get you hence, walk to and fro through the earth." And we know that the only entity that was talked about going to and fro was Hasatan, right? In the Septuagint, it says it encompasses the whole earth. And also in the Septuagint, it says the 4 spirits. It actually says it's the 4 winds of heaven. So that's really interesting as well. Then he cried upon me and spake unto me, saying, Behold, these that go toward the north country have quieted my spirit in the north country. What's really interesting about this, we talked about this a few weeks ago, is this verse connects to a lot of scripture in Ezekiel that talks about when Mystery Babylon is destroyed, which I do believe with everything I've got is Jerusalem. I know that's a big shocker to a lot of you, but if you stay with us on the study, I think you'll see. But when Jerusalem is given her double cup to drink, which was prophesied in Ezekiel 22 and 23, that when she is destroyed, that his spirit is comforted and his spirit is quieted. So that's what's really interesting, that this is tying into the white horses that go into the north country and destroy Mystery Babylon. His spirit is then quieted from that point forward. So pretty interesting stuff. Ezekiel 16, 1 through 2, and really the meat of what I want to read is actually 37 through 43, but I want to give you an idea of who he's talking about here. Ezekiel 16, 1 through 2, again the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abominations. And she's still got very many these days too. Ezekiel 16:37 through 43, Behold, therefore I will gather all thy lovers with whom thou hast taken pleasure, and all them that thou hast loved, and all them that thou hast hated. I will even gather them round about against thee, and will discover thy nakedness unto them. Right? This is the destruction of Babylon, that they may see all thy nakedness. And I will judge thee as a woman that breaketh wedlock. What's a woman that breaketh wedlock, right? A whore, the great whore. And the shed blood are judged, and I will give thee blood in fury and in jealousy. And I will also give thee into their hand, and they shall throw down thine eminent place, and shall break down thy high places, and they shall strip thee also of thy clothes, and shall take thy fair jewels, and leave thee naked and bare. They shall also bring up a company against thee, and they shall stone thee with stones, and thrust thee through with their swords. And they shall burn thine houses with fire, and execute judgments upon thee in the sight of many women. And I will cause thee to cease from playing the harlot, and thou also shalt give no hire any more. So I will make my fury toward thee to rest, right? And my jealousy shall depart from thee, and I will be quiet and be angry no more, right? And so this is what I'm talking about here. Those that go forth toward the north country have quieted my spirit in the north country. So when Babylon, Mystery Babylon is destroyed, right, I will be quiet and be no more angry towards her, because thou hast not remembered the days of thy youth, but hast fretted me in all these things. Behold, therefore, I will also recompense thy way upon thine head, saith Yahweh Eloheinu, and thou shalt not commit this lewdness above all the abominations. And so as far as him being satisfied, quiet, no longer angry, we can find that actually in it's Isaiah 40. I think it's here we go. Isaiah 40, comfort ye, my people, saith your Elohim. Speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry unto her that her warfare is accomplished, that her iniquity is pardoned, for she hath received of the Lord's hand double for all her sins. Right? And we know that it's, I think it's Revelation 18:4, maybe? Yeah, right here. No. What is it? Double unto her. Oh, okay. I wasn't patient. 18:6. Yeah, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, and the cup which she had filled to her double. Right? Zechariah 9:10 through 14, and I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim, and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall speak peace unto the heathen, and his dominion shall be from sea even to sea. We know this is Messiah Yahusha, and from river even to the ends of the earth. And for thee also, by the blood of the covenant, have I have sent forth thy prisoners out of the pit wherein there is no water. Turn you to the stronghold, ye prisoners of hope. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee. When I have bent Judah for me, right? So Judah is the bow. Filled the bow with Ephraim. This is the two houses of Israel, which we know in Ezekiel 37 that they will actually become one. So he's bending Judah as his bow, Ephraim, right? And raise up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and made thee as the sword of a mighty man. So this is interesting why we can see that Yahusha, he's got a bow, and he's got a sword, and he's got a sickle, right? So we can see here that this bow with arrows is also likened to a sword of a mighty man. And Yahweh shall be seen over them, and his arrow shall go forth as the lightning, and Yahweh Elohim shall blow the shofar and go with whirlwinds of the south. So hopefully you're starting to see a lot of the same terminology that we're kind of seeing over and over again. Isaiah 5:26-30, and he will lift up an ensign to the nations from afar, and will hiss unto them from the ends of the earth, and behold, they shall come with speed swiftly. None shall be weary nor stumble among them. None shall slumber or sleep. Neither shall the girdle of their loins be loosed, nor the latchet of their shoes be broken. Whose arrows are sharp, and all their bows bent, and their horses. So what are we seeing here, right? Horses, bows, arrows, hoofs shall be counted like flint, and their wheels like a whirlwind. So it's like all the same terminology. And their roaring shall be like a lion. They shall roar like young lions. We saw this earlier. If you joined us earlier in Micah 5, we saw that the remnant of Israel will be like young lions in the midst of the nations. Give me just a second. Yea, they shall roar and lay hold of the prey, and shall carry it away safe, and none shall deliver it. And in that day they shall roar against them like the roaring of the sea. And if one look unto the land, behold, right, the land. We know always when we're talking about the land, behold, darkness and sorrow, and the light is darkened in the heavens thereof. We're going to be reading a lot more about this when we get to the sixth seal. Let's see here. How much more we got here? I know we're spending a lot of time on the same thing that we went over before. Man, I really want to read all this for you. There's so much here. Man. Well, let's see. I tell you what. Well, maybe we'll come back to this. If I don't come back to this, and if you want to learn more about what we're studying here, take note of Psalm 7, 1-13, Psalm 45, 1-7, all of Jeremiah 4 and 5. Man, I really wanted to read this again. That's all right. I really want to get moving on the other seals, and Psalm 21, and I think that's it, yeah. So I'm actually going to keep this tab up, and if we have more time than I think we will have, then we're going to come back to this. But for now, I think we're going to leave the white horse rider alone. So let's read the rest of them. Okay, so that was the first seal. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. Like he's beckoning John, right? Come and see. Come look, come see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. So, what's interesting about this is this great sword that's mentioned. This was actually prophesied a long time ago in Enoch, and this is the Apocalypse of Weeks. We've actually been reading a lot from this because, in Enoch, the end was prophesied since the beginning, and so this is the different weeks of the different generations of the earth, and it basically tells the history of man. But let's just skip ahead for time's sake. We'll start with the Messiah. And after that, in the sixth week, all who live in it shall be blinded, and the hearts of all them shall godlessly forsake wisdom. This is them going away from Yahweh. This is basically them becoming the harlot, the great harlot, whoring around with other nations in their ways. And in it a man shall ascend. This is Messiah, Yahusha. And at its close, right, so we know that after he ascended to the Father, at its close the house of dominion shall be burnt with fire, right, with the destruction of the temple and Jerusalem in 70 AD. And the whole race of the chosen root shall be dispersed. So this is the diaspora. This is the dispersion of all 12 tribes, because first the 10.5 tribes were dispersed in the northern kingdom. And only the southern kingdom remained, which was Judah, Benjamin, and of course, the Levites that were with them. So then after that, so the next generation, the seventh week, this is what we talked about earlier about at least the great falling away. The falling away happened, at least 300 AD, or whatever, in the 300s that Constantine took over and everything was changed, right? So after that, in the seventh generation shall an apostate generation arise, and many shall be its deeds, and all of its deeds shall be apostate. And that's literally how we've been, because they forsook the Torah. They killed all the Nazarene. They killed all the who they called Judaizers, right? People that believed in Messiah but still kept the Torah. They hated it. They wanted it gone. They wanted to take over the religion. That's what Hasatan did. Hasatan saw what happened, right? And he's like, oh. He thought he got him, right, but he resurrected, and he ascended. He defeated death, right? He got the memo from whoever was handling Sheol, right? He's like, the Messiah, the son of Elohim, the Yahusha, he defeated death. He rose from Sheol. No one's ever done this before. And the devil knew what happened. And what do you think he did? What do you think the devil would do? If you were the devil, right? If you're the devil and you just realized you got defeated, and you saw what Messiah Yahusha did, what would you do right away? You would absolutely infiltrate, and you would absolutely instead of, because he'd learned over the years, you can kill and persecute, and Yahweh's people just continue to multiply. We saw that in Egypt, right? We saw how the Egyptians. And we know Hasatan and his spirits were behind Pharaoh and everybody that that decreed this, but they tried killing all the babies and throwing them in the water. And if you read Jasher, they would bury him alive within the walls of their buildings, and all kinds of. And they just kept growing more and more and more. So by this time, this time in thousands of years later, Hasatan's like, no. We gotta take this over. We gotta go in, infiltrate, put in terrible doctrine, and get them from following the truth and following the way. And it's just like the era of Balaam, right? Balaam couldn't curse them, but he got them to curse themselves. And so anyways, I'm keep going and going here, but anyways, the apostate generation, right? And at its close, now this is interesting. So I believe that this is where we are right here, verse 10, as this is where I believe we are. And at its close, I think the end of the apostasy, right, is this generation is coming to a close. And at its close shall be elected the elect righteous of the eternal plant of righteousness. So the plant of righteousness is the seed of Abraham. So at its close, the elect from the seed of Abraham will be selected and given sevenfold instruction concerning all his creation. Now, I'm going to skip this here. So basically given wisdom. This is the time where wisdom is increased. And he who has ears is hearing, and he who has eyes is seeing. And after that, there shall be another, the eighth week, that of righteousness, and a sword shall be given to it. So what we're talking about here is a great sword was given, right? So I don't know that this is exactly the same thing here, but I just thought it was really interesting that a righteous judgment may be executed on the oppressors, and sinners shall be delivered into the hands of the righteous. So something to consider, at least. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four living creatures. So this is a different voice, whether this is Messiah Yahusha, or this is Yahuwah, or, this is one of the, maybe like Michael or somebody, right? So I heard a voice in the midst of the four living creatures say, a measure of wheat for a dinar or a penny, right? And 3 measures of barley for a penny or denarius. And see that you hurt not the oil and the wine. So there's a couple things here I want to talk about. So, for forever we've talked about this is, famine. This is where, food is scarce and nobody can eat. And is that what it's talking about? Something to consider with this as well. Let's read Amos 1:8-1-13. Thus hath Yahuwah Eloheinu showed unto me, and behold, a basket of summer fruit. And he said, Amos, what do you see? And he said, a basket of summer fruit. Then said Yahuwah unto me, the end is come upon my people of Israel. I will not again pass by them any more. The songs of the temple shall be howlings in that day, saith Yahuwah Eloheinu. There shall be many dead bodies in every place. They shall cast them forth with silence. Hear this, O ye that swallow up the needy, even to make the poor of the land to fail, saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn, and the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat, making the ephah small and the shekel great, and falsifying the balances by deceit? Some people ask, show me where we can't buy and sell on the Sabbath. There you go. It's also in Nehemiah, right? Nehemiah 13. That we may buy the poor for silver and the needy for a pair of shoes, yea, and sell the refuse of wheat. Yahuwah hath sworn by the excellency of Yaakov, surely I will never forget any of their works. Shall not the land tremble for this, and every one mourn that dwelleth therein? Right? So again, I believe this is the destruction of Babylon, Mystery Babylon. And it shall rise up wholly as a flood, and it shall be cast out and drowned as by the flood of Egypt. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh Elohim, that I will cause the sun to go down at noon, and I will darken the earth in the clear day. This is, right, we're talking about here, Revelation, we're talking about the sixth seal, which again, I really believe that at least all six seals are like, and then the only saying that we're going to see in, was it in chapter 8, right, between seals 6 and 7, that there was silence in heaven for about the space of half an hour, right? And I will turn your feasts into mourning and all your songs into lamentation, and I will bring up sackcloth upon all thy loins and baldness upon every head, and I will make it as the mourning of an only son, and the end thereof is a bitter day. This is the beginning of the day of Yahuwah. Behold, the days come, saith Yahuwah Elohim, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of the hearing of the words of Yahuwah. Is that this famine that's talked about here in Revelation 6? Maybe. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east, and they shall run to and fro. Right? Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased, to seek the word of Yahuwah, and shall not find it. In that day shall the fair virgins and the young men faint for thirst. So, what do I believe we just read here? I believe that Babylon's destroyed. I believe his Kodeshim are taken away, those that love the truth. And when they're gone, there's going to be a period of time where, the beast reigns for 1,260 days. And I believe there's going to be a huge famine for the word. Now, in large, is there a famine for the word right now? Yeah. But those of us that are thirsty, can we drink of the word right now? Absolutely. Like no time in history. Can we feed on the true word right now? Absolutely, like we haven't been able to. Unfortunately, most people just don't care right now because they're more cared about the world. But is this right? So again, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh Elohim, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing of the words of Yahweh. So, maybe when this all goes down, it'll be banned off the internet. Maybe Bibles will be no longer allowed. Who knows? Who knows how that's going to work? I don't know. And so another thing that is really interesting here is if you know your scriptures, some of you that are familiar with 1st and 2nd Kings, there's an interesting event that happened that actually the exact same thing was said, and that's what's interesting about Revelation is almost everything that you can that you read here can be pulled from somewhere in the Old Testament. And this is no exception here. So again, we'll read this part. So a measure of wheat I'll just say penny, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt the oil and the wine. So specifically this part here, measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny. So this is a time during the time of Elisha, and there is a sore famine in the land. So let's read about it. So 2 Kings, we're going to read 2 Kings 6:25 through 7:20. And there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it, until an ass's head, so this is a donkey's head, was sold for 60, right, or 80 pieces of silver, right? So this is 80 pieces of silver for the head of a donkey. That's how bad the famine was, right? Think about that right now. Think about 80 pieces of silver, right? So a piece of silver is worth like, I don't know, $15-20 right now. I don't know. I don't even know if a piece was an ounce, so I can't really equate it. But all I'm saying is that 80 pieces of silver right now is not cheap for a donkey's head. I mean, how much meat is on the head even? If you read some of these books, I mean, they literally would give birth to a child and eat it. That's how bad the famine was. And the 4th part of a cab of a dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver, right? So like literally bird poop was sold for 5 pieces of silver. I mean, think about how starving the people were. This is bad. And as the king of Israel was passing upon the wall, there cried a woman, saying unto him, Help, my lord, my king, O king. And he said, If the Lord do not help thee, whence shall I help thee? Out of the barn floor, out of the winepress? And the king said unto her, What aileth thee? And she answered, This woman said unto me, Give thy son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son, and did eat him. And I said unto her on the next day, Give thy son, that we may eat him. And she hath hid her son. Right? So they literally, ate a baby. I guess they say that starving to death is literally one of the most painful deaths ever, other than maybe the crucifix or the cross or the, whatever, how Messiah died. This has probably got to be one of the worst ways to go. And it came to pass when the king heard the words of the woman. So she said that, she agreed with this other person that, hey, we're going to boil my child today. We're going to eat him. And tomorrow we'll boil yours. And she's like, okay, sounds good. And so they ate his son, the first one. And then when day 2 came around, she's like, I don't think so. No way. And it came to pass when the king heard the words of this woman that he rent his clothes, and he passed by upon the wall. And the people looked, and behold, he had sackcloth within upon his flesh. Then he said, God do so and more also to me, if the head of Elisha the son of Shaphat shall stand on him this day. But Elisha sat in his house, and the elders sat with him, and the king sent a man from before him. But before the messenger came to him, he said to the elders, See ye how this son of a murderer hath sent to take away mine head? Look, when the messenger cometh, shut the door, and hold him fast at the door. Is not the sound of his master's feet behind him? And while he yet talked with him, behold, the messenger came down unto him, and he said, Behold, this evil is of YHWH. What should I wait for YHWH any longer? Then Elisha said, Hear ye the word of YHWH. Thus saith YHWH, Tomorrow about this time shall a measure of fine flour be sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel. Right? So this is kind of what we saw here, except for it says 1 measure of wheat for a penny, or you could say a shekel, and 3 measures of barley for a shekel. So in this passage it says, about this time tomorrow shall a measure of fine flour be sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel in the gates of Samaria. So basically he's saying that, tomorrow all is going to be well. And meanwhile, people are eating their babies, right? And Elisha's like, hear the word of YHWH. Tomorrow, everything's going to be all right. And if you're right, so anyways, just to save a little bit of time, long story short, the entire army was sent away, by fear, and they left all their provisions, all their food, everything, and they went out and gathered everything. And it came to pass, just as Elisha had said, that right here, and it came to pass as the man of Elohim had spoken to the king, saying, 2 measures of barley for a shekel, and a measure of fine flour for a shekel shall be tomorrow about this time in the gate of Samaria. So why did I bring all this up? Is in this context, it's a good thing, right? So I'm not here to say that, that's the exact same thing that's saying here, but if we can get understanding, right, from the Tanakh of everything that we should understand here in Revelation, well, the only thing we have to go off in the scriptures is that a measure of wheat for a dinar and 3 measures of barley for a dinar is a good thing, and it says, "Hurt not the oil and the wine." So again, I'm not teaching you this. I'm just sharing with you my notes of what I see in the scriptures, and you can take it for what it is, and you take it to YHWH in prayer, and you can either just toss this out and say he's lost it, or maybe there's something here. Completely up to you. The great thing about all this is it's awesome to talk about, but really the most important thing about our walk is that we believe in Messiah, that we come to him, we repent of our sins, right? We come with a repentant heart and being sorry for the nonsense that we've done. Come to him truly in true repentance, right? Because you come to him with a broken heart, he's going to hear you. That's how he works. I told you about this before. One of my favorite stories is in Second Chronicles. Talk about probably another book you haven't read in a while. When's the last time you read Second Chronicles? Second Chronicles 33 is probably the story about the most mercy that you'll ever see from Yahweh. It's King Manasseh, the same Manasseh that literally had Isaiah cut in half, like literally cut him in half. He instituted the burning the children in the fire to Baal, to Moloch. Slept with people's wives. I mean, just totally did everything wrong. Set up all kinds of false gods. I mean, he's just like literally one of the worst kings, right? And Yahweh had him sent to prison. He's like, all right, I'm gonna show you here, you haughty thing. Sent him into prison in Syria, right? Assyria, and in prison on the floor, shackled up. Manasseh, with all of his heart, called out to Yahweh. Yahweh forgave him, sent him back to Israel, reinstated him as king, and Manasseh tore down the altars, and he did right. But I say all that to say this, right? That none of us are too far gone from that. So the most important thing, to get back on track, the most important thing is we come to the Father through Messiah, his Son, in a repentant heart, full of belief, knowing that he is true, that his word is true, that he is creator of all, that he created the heavens, the earth, the sea, the firmament, the stars, every one of us, all the beasts of the field, the fowls of the air, all the fish and the whales and the seas, every living creature, right? He made. It's the work and the magnificence of his hands. All the plants, all the vegetation, the trees, the sun, the moon, everything. We realize that he is the creator of all. And we keep his commandments. We keep his Torah. That's the important message. All this is just awesome. It's fun and awesome to study, I think. Because, he says that he does nothing without telling his servants, the prophets. So here we are, going through the prophets, seeing what's coming. I don't know about you. I want to know what's coming, and I want to be prepared, right? So, all right, so let's read Revelation 6, 7 and 8. And this is the fourth seal. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast saying, "Come and see." And I looked, and behold, a green horse. It says pale horse, or different translations. And his name that sat upon him was Death, and Sheol followed him. So, death, right? Death is Satan, right? Isn't it Satan? So if this horse rider is Satan, how are we saying that this one on the white horse, who's overcoming, is Satan? Just food for thought. And Sheol, right, hell followed with him, and all power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. And we're going to actually see here that this is part of the prophecy of the destruction of Mystery Babylon. So let's compare this. A couple things here to talk about. So we have to realize, a lot of people think that, all this is going to happen before New Jerusalem comes down, before the Exodus happens, or the taking away, whatever you want to call it. But something interesting to consider here. Revelation 9, 13 through 21, it says, "And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before Elohim, saying to the sixth angel, which had the shofar, Loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates." So let's remember this, the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. "And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the third part of men." Now, if anybody out there has good insight of what this hour, day, month, year is, other than just being very literal, like basically just saying that this exact moment in time, right? Anything outside of that, please put it in the comments after the video is uploaded, or if you're watching this as a upload. Would love to have some wisdom on that. I don't have anything there other than it just being very literal, that basically saying that these four angels were loosed, which were prepared for this very moment in time, for to slay the third part of men. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. I heard the number of them, right? So I believe that that's what this is talking about here. And thus I saw the horses in a vision, and them that sat on them, having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth, and of brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. By these was a third part of men killed by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see, nor hear, nor walk, neither repented they for their murders, nor their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their theft. So what are we seeing here? Again, you've got the four angels which are loosed, right? These four angels. You've got death and his army, and we see all this destruction, right? But hang on a second, right? So we have to realize that Revelation is not in chronological order. It like tells you the story, and then it backs up from the beginning. Then it tells you the story, and it backs up from the beginning, and then it picks this part here, this part here. So check this out. So Revelation 7, 1 through 4, and after these things I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, right? So here we are, four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living Elohim, and cried with a loud voice to the four angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. So that's what we're seeing right here. Four angels that were loose were prepared for an hour and for a day and a month and a year to slay the third part of men, whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth. So don't touch anything. So don't hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our Elohim in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed. There were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Yisrael. So none of this destruction is going to happen until the sealing of the 144,000 and the taking of the great multitude, which we're going to talk about next week. One of my favorite topics. So Ezekiel 37, 9 through 14. Let's talk about this. Then he said unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, thus saith Yahweh Elohinu, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived, and stood upon their feet, an exceeding great army. Then he said unto me, son of man, these bones are the whole house of Yisrael. Behold, they say, our bones are dried, and our hope is lost. We are cut off for our parts. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus saith Yahweh Elohenu, behold, O my people, I will open your graves, and cause you to come up out of your graves, and bring you into the land of Israel. This is the first resurrection, right? And ye shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves. And I shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I shall place you in your own land, and ye shall know that the Yahweh hath spoken it and performed it, saith Yahweh. So once again, let's take a look at this. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword and hunger, and with death, and the beasts of the earth. So none of this can happen, right? This cannot happen until the sealing of the 144,000. And let's see. I'm going to skip around here on Ezekiel 5 just for time's sake. And let's see. Starting in verse 4, then take off them again and cast them into the midst of the fire and burn them. This is like his hair that he had cut. For therein shall a fire come forth into all the house of Israel. And thus saith Yahweh Elohenu, this is Jerusalem. I have set it in the midst of the nations and countries that are round about her. And she hath changed my judgments into wickedness more than the nations, and my statutes more than the countries that are round about her. For they have refused my judgments and my statutes. They have not walked in them. The people that are living in that land right now, the inhabitants of that land right now, are doing the same thing. Nothing's changed. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh Elohenu, because ye have multiplied more than the nations that are round about you, and have not walked in my statutes, neither have kept my judgments, neither have done according to the judgments of the nations that are round about you, Therefore, thus saith Yahweh Elohim, behold, even I am against you, and will execute judgments in the midst of you in the sight of the nations. This is the destruction of Mystery Babylon in the sight of the nations. And I will do in thee which I have not done, and whereunto I will not do any more the like, because of all thy abominations. And 70 AD is not the end all. It is not this right here, right? The destruction of the temple and Jerusalem in 70 AD was not the final destruction of Babylon. Therefore, the fathers shall eat the sons in the midst of thee, and the sons shall eat their fathers, and I will execute judgments in thee, and the whole remnant of thee will I scatter into all the winds. Wherefore, as I live, saith Yahweh Elohim, surely because you have defiled my sanctuary with all thy detestable things, and with all thy abominations, therefore will I also diminish thee, neither shall mine eye spare, neither will I have any pity. A third part of thee shall die with the pestilence, and with famine they shall be consumed in the midst of thee, and a third part shall die by the sword round about thee. So we saw earlier, right, the angels were given destruction over a third part. Thus mine anger shall be accomplished, and I will cause my fury to rest upon them, and I will be comforted. So we saw this earlier. For those of you that were with us a little earlier, it says, I will be comforted after Jerusalem is destroyed. And they shall know that I am Yahweh. I have spoken in my zeal when I have accomplished my fury in them. Moreover, I will make thee waste and a reproach among the nations that are round about thee in the sight of all that pass by. So it shall be a reproach and a taunt and instruction and astonishment unto the nations that are round about you, when I shall execute judgments in you in anger and in fury and in furious rebukes. I, Yahweh, have spoken it. When I shall send upon them the evil arrows of famine, which shall be their destruction, and I will send to destroy you, and I will increase famine upon you, and will break your staff of bread. So this is all the stuff that we're seeing in the first 4 seals. So I'll send upon you famine and evil beasts, and they shall bereave you, and pestilence and blood shall pass through you, and I will bring the sword upon you. I, Yahweh, have spoken it. And I think this is, let's see, just a couple more. Oh, we already read that. Okay, good. Okay, so here, this is really interesting right here. So one more time here with the fourth seal in the fourth rider. And I looked, and behold, a green horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and Sheol followed him. And listen closely, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. Well, here we go. For thus saith Yahweh Elohim, how much more when I send my 4 sore judgments upon Jerusalem? Is it just a coincidence? We have the 4 riders, and we have the 4 parts of what we saw here, right? So I send my 4 sore judgments upon Jerusalem: the sword, the famine, and the noisome beast, and the pestilence to cut it off from man and beast. So sword, famine, beasts. Sword, famine, also death, beasts. This is what's happening. Okay. And, here we go. Yet behold, therein shall be left a remnant that shall be brought forth, both sons and daughters. Behold, they shall come forth unto you, and ye shall see their way and their doings, and ye shall be comforted in concerning the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem. Right? So, rejoice, ye holy apostles. Yeah, this is the destruction of Jerusalem. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for God hath avenged you on her, for Elohim hath avenged you on her. You all know that Revelation 18 is all about Mystery Babylon. And ye shall be comforted concerning the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem, even concerning all that I have brought upon it. And they shall comfort you, and when you see their ways and their doings, and ye shall know that I have not done without cause all that I have done in it, saith Yahweh Elohim. Ezekiel 15, this is really short. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, what is the vine tree more than any tree, or than a branch which is among the trees of the forest? Shall wood be taken thereof to do any work, or will men take a pin of it? Will men take a pin of it to hang any vessel thereon? Behold, it is cast into the fire for fuel, and the fire devoureth both the ends of it, and in the midst of it is burned. Is it meet for any work? Behold, when it was whole, it was meet for no work. right? It's talking about the chaff, right, of Israel, the ones that are going to be burnt. How much less shall it be meet yet for any work when the fire hath devoured it, and it is burned? Therefore, thus saith Yahweh Elohim, as the vine tree among the trees of the forest, which I have given to the fire for fuel, so will I give the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the people that are there right now. If you got any travel plans, well, actually nobody's got travel plans right now, but as much as I want to go visit this place again, I ain't going to do it, not until he brings us there. That place is going to get melted. And I will set my face against them, and they shall go out from one fire, and another fire shall devour them. And ye shall know that I am Yahweh when I set my face against them, and I will make the land desolate, because they have committed a trespass, saith Yahweh Elohim. So, thinking about the abomination of desolation, what is the abomination? The whore, Mystery Babylon, the abomination. She will be made desolate, and that is all brought to a roundabout here in Luke 21. And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let them not that are in the countries enter thereinto. We know this happened in 70 AD, right? But this continues, so all this, for these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. So all things which were written being fulfilled did not happen in 70 AD. It's going to happen again, brothers and sisters. That land over there that people worship and people idolize, that's not, that. While that was Yahweh's work, right? Because it's bringing about these end times and end times deception. That is not the prophecy about the regathering. That place is going to get melted. For those of you that know the Song of Moshe, which we'll be singing at the end of this, right? All the inhabitants of Canaan, right? Canaan. We know where Canaan is. All the inhabitants of Canaan melted. Right? So what's it? I will bring you in the midst of Jerusalem and melt you. Ezekiel 22:20. As this is talking about the evil remnant of the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the people that are still worshiping the Talmud and worshiping Hasatan through that false writing that is the Talmud and then the Midrash and the Zohar and all that garbage. As they gather silver and brass and iron and lead and tin into the midst of the furnace to blow the fire upon it to melt it, so will I gather you in mine anger and in my fury, and I will leave you there and melt you. Let's see where the there was. Verse 20, right here. So verse 19, therefore thus saith Yahweh Elohim, because you are all become dross, behold, therefore I will gather you into the midst of Jerusalem, right? And I will leave you there, and I will melt you. That's why that regathering happened. You know who's living? You know who's living in that land right now? The people that are just itching to get theirs. Let's read about it. You know who crucified Messiah. You know who wanted Barabbas and not their king. Rabbinic Judaism. Rabbinic Judaism, also called Rabbinism or Judaism espoused by the Rabbanites, has been the mainstream form of Judaism since the 6th century CE, after the codification of the Babylonian Talmud, growing out of Pharisaic Judaism. Well, there you go. These are the children of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, those same ones that killed our Messiah. Well, he gave up his own life, but you know what I mean. That's why that land's going to get destroyed. And plus, that's where also New Jerusalem's going to sit down, so it's got to be cleansed first. We already read this, and so, yeah, okay, so we're done with that. So, I know that was a pretty interesting sidetrack there, but if you remember, we just to remind you really quickly, in Revelation 7, we saw that after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, so that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor the sea, nor on any tree. And we saw that nothing was hurt, nothing was touched until his servants, his righteous ones, were sealed. So let's take a look at 2nd Baruch. We're going to look at chapter 5. And this is Baruch was being instructed by Elohim to gather like Jeremiah and all the other righteous people and get them out of Jerusalem because it's about to be destroyed. And so let's just read a little bit here. Chapter 5 of 2nd Baruch. And so this is right when Nebuchadnezzar and his army was getting ready to come and knock it down. Cool. Thunder. Y'all hear that? Awesome. And I answered and said, so then I am destined to grieve for Zion, right, for Jerusalem. For your enemies will come to this place and pollute your sanctuary and lead your inheritance into captivity and make themselves masters of those whom you have loved. And they will depart again to the place of their idols and will boast before them and what we would do for your great name. Let me skip here just for time's sake because we have got a couple more things to go over. And so here. And I went and took Jeremiah, and Adu, and Sarayahu, and Yavish, and Gedaliah, and the honorable men of the people, and led them to the valley of the Kidron, and I narrated to them all that had been said to me. And they lifted up their voice, and they all wept, and they sat there and fasted till the evening. And it came to pass on the morrow that, lo, the army of the Kasdim surrounded the city, and at the time of the evening I, Baruch, left the people and went forth and stood by the oak. And I was grieving over Zion, and lamenting over the captivity which had come upon the people. And lo, suddenly a strong ruach, a strong wind, raised me and bore me aloft over the wall of Jerusalem, and I had beheld, and lo, here we go, right? Remember the four angels? Remember the four angels standing on the four corners? 4 angels standing at the 4 corners of the city, each of them holding a torch of fire in his hands. And another angel began to descend from heaven, and said unto them, Hold your lamps, and do not light them till I tell you, for I am first sent to speak a word to the earth, and to place in it what Yahweh Sabaoth has commanded me. And I saw him descending into the Holy of the Holies, to take from thence the veil, and the holy ark, and the mercy seat, and the 2 tables, and the holy raiment of the priests, and the altar of incense, and the 48 precious stones wherewith the priest was adorned, and all the holy vessels of the tabernacle. And he spoke to the earth with a loud voice, Earth, 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 hear the word of El Elohim, and receive what I commit to you, and guard them until the last times, so that when you are ordered, you may restore them, so that strangers may not get possession of them. For the time comes when Jerusalem also will be delivered for a time, until it is said, it is again restored forever. And the earth opened up its mouth and swallowed them up. So I would like to keep reading, but not. So anyway, so again, you see the 4 angels, right, holding everything back until this other angel came down and initiated everything, right? So here we go, same thing. I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel descending. So we see the same thing. We see 5 angels. We saw 5 angels on the last one. In 2nd Baruch, we see 5 angels again here. You've got the 4 angels, and then the other angel actually ascending from the east, right, having the seal of the living Elohim. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our Elohim in their foreheads. Amen. And we're going to read some of this. We're going to read through this next week. All right. Give me a second here. All right. Okay, Revelation 6 through 9. And when he had opened the 5th seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of Yahweh and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Yahweh, holy and true, do you not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them, they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also, and their brethren that should be killed as they were, should be fulfilled. So, while this may be some of the souls of people that are, killed in tribulation and whatnot, this has actually been happening. This little scene right here, this little cry for judgment here, has actually been happening since the very first murder. Let's read about it. It's in Enoch 22. Enoch 22. And thence I went to another place, and he showed me in the west another great and high mountain of hard rock. And there was in it 4 hollow places, deep and wide and very smooth. How smooth are the hollow places, and how deep and dark to look at! Then Raphael answered, one of the holy angels who was with me, and said unto me, These hollow places have been created for this very purpose, that the spirits of the souls of the dead should assemble therein. Yea, that all the souls of the children of men should assemble here. And these places have been made to receive them till the day of their judgment, and till their appointed period, till their period appointed, till the great judgment comes upon them. So basically, Enoch was given a tour of down below into Sheol, and he's seeing the different chambers there. There's different places for different people. And I saw the spirits of the children of men who were dead, and their voice went forth to heaven and made suit. Right? So this is what we're seeing right here. They're making suit. How long, O Yahweh, holy and true, do you not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? They're making suit. Right? And their voice went forth to heaven to make suit. And then I asked Raphael, the angel who was with me, and I said unto him, This spirit, whose is it, whose voice goeth forth and maketh suit? And he answered me, saying, This is the spirit which went forth from Abel, whom his brother Cain slew, and he makes his suit against him till his seed is destroyed from the face of the earth, and his seed is annihilated from amongst the seed of men. So this petition, how long, O Yahweh, till you not bring judgment, has literally happened since Abel went down into Sheol. Can you guys hear the thunder? Can you guys hear the thunder? Ooh. Ooh. Anyways, let me guys know if you guys can hear the thunder. It's pretty cool. Then I asked regarding it, and regarding all the hollow places, why is one separated from the other? So he's talking about 2 different places in Sheol, like, right? So I made my point already, but I figured we'd kind of just read the rest. Can you guys hear it? No, I guess not. Heard that one. All right, cool. Nice. Nice. Okay. Then I asked regarding it, and regarding all the hollow places, why is one separated from the other? And he answered me and said unto me, These 3 have been made that the spirits of the dead might be separated, and such a division has been made for the spirits of the righteous, in which there is the bright spring of water, and such has been made for sinners when they die and are buried in the earth, and judgment has not been executed on them in their lifetime. Here their spirits shall be set apart in this great pain till the great day of judgment, and punishment and torment of those who curse forever, and retribution for their spirits. There he shall bind them forever. And such a division has been made for the spirits of those who make their suit, who make disclosures concerning their destruction, when they were slain in the days of the sinners. Such has been made for the spirits of men who are not righteous, but sinners, who were complete in transgression, and of the transgressors they shall be companions, but their spirits shall not be slain in the day of judgment, nor shall they be raised from thence. Then I blessed Yahweh Sevaot, and said, Blessed be my Adonai, the Adonai of righteousness, who ruleth forever. Amen. Amen. So, if you want to read more about what happens when you die, take a look at, I'm not going to read it tonight because it's a long passage, but take a look at 2 Esdras 7, I think it's 70 through 140, and you can read that for free with the RSV version on Bible Gateway. So, right, the state of the dead before judgment. So you can read a lot more details of literally what happens to your body when you die. It's a really interesting read. We went through this on the, if you haven't watched the 2 Esdras line-by-line study that Justin and I have done, it was a really big blessing to go through and talk about this. So take a look at it if you'd like. So, Revelation 6:12, we'll read 12 through 14. And I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, this is where it gets really interesting, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casts her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heavens departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island removed out of their places. This is a big, right? This is a big event. And quite frankly, I could probably show you like 15 different chapters of everything that's included here, but I'm just going to give you a little snippet here. We're going to be reading Isaiah 13, 1 through 10, Isaiah 34, 1 through 6, Zephaniah 1, 1 through 8, Revelation 19, 7 through 18, Joel 2, 1 through 22, and Joel 3. So we got a little bit of reading to go. Isaiah 13, 1 through 10. The burden of Babylon, Mystery Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. What's interesting about chapter 13 is it has both the destruction of physical Babylon, ancient Babylon, and Mystery Babylon all in the same chapter. What I believe is the first part here is describing Mystery Babylon in the end times, and you'll see that connecting here. Remember the earthquake. Remember the sun becoming darkened, the moon as blood or darkened, the stars of heaven falling, all that kind of stuff. So let's read about it. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, New Jerusalem. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. And really quickly, who gets to go into the gates of the nobles? That is in Isaiah 26. All right. In that day, this song shall be sung in the land of Judah. We have a strong city, New Jerusalem. Salvation will Elohim appoint for walls and bulwarks. Open ye the gates. So this is what we're talking about here. May go into the gates of the nobles. Open ye the gates, that the righteous nation which keepeth the truth may enter in. What's the truth? Thy Torah is the truth. Exalt the voice unto them, that shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones, his Kodesh ones, his set-apart ones. I've also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in his highness, and in my highness, right? So, probably a good time to rejoice in his highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahuwah of Seva, Yahweh Sevaod mustereth the host of battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven. Right, we're scattered abroad. Even Yahweh and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Howl ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. If you've been with me this whole time tonight, or you're watching this as a recording, this is like the third or fourth time you've seen this. They shall be amazed one at another, and their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of Yahweh cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate. What land do you think this is? And he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Who's living in that land right now? Sinners. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. So this is literally what we just saw in the sixth seal, the opening of the sixth seal. We're going to see some more. Isaiah 34, 1 through 6. Come near, ye nations, to hearken, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved. All the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. So it's what we literally just saw right here. And the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Right? I mean, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon all the people of my curse to judgment. If you haven't seen, there's a video you really have to see if you really want to understand the end times and what's going to happen to that land. You got to take a look at this video right here. Right here. This is a really important video to understand of what's happening or what's going to happen. It's called Ezekiel 36 End Times Israel Prophecy. Really good. It's not too long, 39 minutes. You can handle it. Check that out. For the sword of Yahweh is filled with blood, it is made with fatness, and with the blood of the lambs and goats, and with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For Yahweh hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. So literally, if you missed the other Gen 15 map, when you look at the day of Yahuwah, when you look at all the major prophets, the minor prophets, when you look at the start of the day of Yahuwah, it literally fires off every single one of these places within these borders here. I mean, it talks about it talks about Syria, it talks about all of Jerusalem, it talks about Lebanon, it talks about Tyre, it talks about Sidon, it talks about the Negev, it talks about Egypt, it talks about this is where Edom was, like right here. Edom was here. Anyways, this whole area is going to get leveled. Why? Because I believe that this is where the borders of where New Jerusalem sits down. Right there. So, right. So, a sacrifice in Bozrah. Where's Bozrah? Right. This is Edom. Where was? I'm sorry. Ancient. Oops. Edom. Right. Where's Edom? So this whole area, gone. Moab, gone. Ammon, gone. All of it. Oops. All of it gone. And a great slaughter in the land of Idumea, Edom. So, Zephaniah 1:1-8. The word of Yahweh which came unto Zephaniah, the son of Cushai, the son of Gedaliah, the son of Amariah, the son of Hezekiah, in the days of Josiah, the son of Ammon, king of Yehudah. I will utterly consume all things from off the land. What land do you think he's talking about? Saith Yahuwah. I will consume man and beast. I will consume the fowls of the heaven and the fishes of the sea and the stumbling blocks with the wicked, and I will cut off man from off the land, saith Yahuwah. I will also stretch out mine hand upon Judah and upon all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and I will cut off the remnant of Baal from this place, and the name of the Chemarims with the priests, and of them that worship the host of heaven upon the housetops, and them that worship and swear by Yahuwah, and that swear by Malcham. This is another word for Baal. You got Baal, you got Moloch, you've got all these nasty, nasty things. And them that are turned back from Yahuwah, and those that have not sought Yahuwah, nor inquired for him. Hold thy peace at the presence of Yahweh Elohinu, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. So what are we talking about here? The day of Yahweh starts with the destruction of all these lands, period. That's literally what the beginning of Zephaniah says, and it totally goes along with everything we're saying. So Yahweh hath prepared his sacrifice. He has bid his guests. That's what we just saw here. Yahweh hath a sacrifice. It shall come to pass. Right, so Yahweh hath prepared a sacrifice. He hath bid his guests. This is the wedding feast, right? This is the great banquet that we're working our tails off to do our part in this, to make ourselves ready. The pressing of the oil that the wise virgins had. It's the keeping of the commandments, the keeping of the Torah, despite everything that's going on, despite, your spouse being against you, despite your parents hating you for it, despite people separating fellowship from you, despite being kicked out of your local church that can't meet anywhere anyways now, because you ask questions about, I really think that we're supposed to keep the law, we're supposed to keep the Torah, and everybody just takes, some passages from Paul and says, well, no, no, we're not under the law, right? Yahweh hath prepared a sacrifice, he hath bid his guests, and it shall come to pass in the day of Yahweh's sacrifice that I will punish the princes and the king's children, and all such as are clothed with strange apparel. What is the sacrifice? Well, here it is in Revelation 19, 7-8. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. And he saith unto me, Right, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he saith unto me, These are the true sayings of Elohim. And I fell at his feet to worship, and he said to me, see that you don't do it. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahusha. Worship Elohim. This is big, for the testimony of Yahusha is the spirit of prophecy. And I saw heaven open. This is New Jerusalem opened, and behold, a white horse. So we're kind of right back to the beginning of how we started all this. So we're coming full circle now. And behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Elohim. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And we just saw who got that fine linen, white and clean. So the marriage, right? And his wife had made herself ready, the wise virgins, and to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. So this is his saints. This is those that are found worthy. Those are the 144,000, and I believe the great multitude goes with, but I do believe that the 144,000 alone is the army. That's for another time. So the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean, and out of his mouth go a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. Right? So we're seeing bow, we're seeing sword, we're seeing rod, sickle, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of Almighty Elohim, and he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Adonai of Adonais. And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves unto the supper of the great Elohim. Right, this is the great sacrifice, because that's literally what sacrifices were back in the old days. Everybody thinks you're just killing animals and just wasting the carcass. No, people, this is a barbecue. This is like a barbecue. Sorry, I'm not trying to make fun, but I'm not trying to be silly, but I'm just saying that that's what's going on here. Come and gather yourselves into the supper of the great Elohim, that you may eat the flesh of kings. And this is a figurative thing. I don't think we're eating people, but that you may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and that sit thereon, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. So that's what's going on here. Hopefully you gleaned what needed to be gleaned here, and I think it's going to be shown here a little clearer what we just saw in Joel 1 through 22. So everything we just read, I think, is summarized really well from Joel 2, 1 through 22, and then pretty much all of 3. And we're going to be wrapping up tonight after this. So it worked out pretty good. I wanted to do about 2 hours, and here we are. Joel 2, 1 through 22. Blow ye the shofar in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain, New Jerusalem. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and strong. Right? We just read this earlier in Isaiah. Like a massive people coming off the mountains, tumultuous people. There hath not been ever the like, neither shall any more be after it, even to the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness, yea, and nothing shall escape them. So literally what's going to have to happen is that land is going to be made, it's going to be like carpet bombed. I mean, not literally, but it's going to be just annihilated. And then the reverse thing is going to happen, and we see that. I'll just show you really quickly in Ezekiel 36. This is all about Israel. The whole thing, I'll show you here. So at the beginning of this chapter, Son of man, prophesy unto the mountains of Israel, and say, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of Yahweh. So this is all about Israel, right? And the desolate land shall be tilled. So when this all goes down, that land's going to be made desolate. The desolate land shall be tilled, whereas it lay desolate in the sight of all that passed by. And they shall say, this land that was desolate is become like the Garden of Eden. So here we're seeing the opposite. So a fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. And then the opposite happens. This land that was desolate is become like the Garden of Eden, and the waste and desolate and ruined cities are become fenced and are inhabited. Then the heathen that are left round about you shall know that I, Yahuwah, build the ruined places and plant that was desolate. I, Yahuwah, have spoken it. So that's the order of operation there. But let's continue. Yea, nothing shall escape them. So first it needs to be destroyed. So nothing shall escape this army. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses and horsemen. It is interesting that we're talking about the four horsemen, right? Of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, as it said. So shall they run. So hopefully by now I think you're starting to realize that the four horsemen is not really what we've all been taught. But again, I'm just offering up my understanding and my notes, and you can study this for yourself. And hopefully you guys are taking notes as well, which, by the way, I think eventually on the website, parableofthevineyard.com, I'm going to actually go ahead and upload these notes so you guys can take my notes and study it for yourself based off of the readings that put together. So shall they run, like the noise of chariots on tops of the mountains. So it's interesting that when we're talking about the two main passages of the four horsemen, we see is Revelation 6 and Zechariah 6. And in Zechariah 6, we saw that the horses were attached to chariots. So like the noise of chariots on the tops of the mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pained. Right? We saw pain like a woman in travail. All faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. And they shall march every one in his ways, and shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path. And when they shall fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. So this is a glorified. This is a people with the fine linen. That's everlasting garments. They cannot die. They shall run to and from the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. And here we go. Here's seal number 6. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And Yahweh shall utter his voice before his army. This is not the locust army, right? This is not the army of death, and hell following after him. Yahweh shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great, for he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of Yahweh is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? Therefore also now, saith Yahweh, turn ye even to me with all your heart, and with fasting, and with weeping, and with mourning, and rend your heart, and not your garments, and turn unto Yahweh your Elohim, for he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repenteth him of the evil. Who knoweth if he will return and repent, and leave a blessing behind him, even a meat offering and a drink offering unto Yahweh your Elohim? Blow ye the shofar in Zion, sanctify a fast, call a solemn assembly, gather the people. Hello, what's going on here? Sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children, and those that suck the breast. Let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber, and the bride out of her closet. Wow, I'm getting goosebumps. This is the marriage feast supper of the Lamb. Let the bridegroom go out of his chamber, and the bride out of her closet. This is what we just saw in Revelation 19. Let the priests, the ministers of Yahweh, weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, Spare thy people, O Yahweh, and give not thine heritage to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore should they say among the people, Where is their Elohim? Then will Yahweh be jealous for his land. Hello. And pity his people. Yea, Yahweh will answer and say unto his people, Behold, I send you corn and wine and oil. Remember we saw earlier, See thou hurt not the oil and the wine, and ye shall be satisfied therewith, and I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face set toward the east, and hinder his part towards the utmost sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he has done great things. Fear not, O land, be glad and rejoice, for Yahweh will do great things. Be not afraid, ye beasts of the field, for the pastures of the wilderness do spring, and the tree beareth her fruit. And we know that we are likened unto an olive tree, to a fig tree, to a vineyard. But the bringing forth of the fruit, right, it's always been about keeping his Torah, always. If you're new here, just in case, Psalm 1 states here, His delight is in the Torah of Yahweh. So blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the way of the sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the Torah of Yahweh. And in his Torah does he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. So, for the tree beareth her fruit, the fig tree and the vine do yield their strength. Well, there you go. There's all three of them. A tree, a fig tree, and a vine. Joel 3. Let me... For behold, Joel 3, for behold, in those days, and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, right? This is the gathering. This is the second Exodus. This is the gathering together, whatever you want to call it. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render to me a recompense? And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedy will I return your recompense on your own head. So we saw here, long story short here, we saw here that when the people of Yahweh are gathered to New Jerusalem, he's also going to gather the nations together. That's the New World Order. That is the global citizen, New World Order, Illuminati, whatever you want to call it. This is exactly why Satan's uniting the world, because this is part of Yahweh's plan. Because you have taken my silver and my gold and have carried it into your temples, my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them afar from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and I will return your recompense on your own head. I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabaeans, to a people far off, for Yahweh hath spoken it. Proclaim you this among the Gentiles. Prepare for war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Revelation 3, I know thy works. Verse 8, and behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For you had a little strength, and hast kept my word, and has not denied my name. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves, and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither, cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened, and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I will sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. Here it is again. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Yahweh shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but Yahweh will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. So again, this start of the day of Yahweh is going to be pain and sorrow and trembling for the world, and it's going to be a day of absolute magnificence and comfort and strength for the children of Israel. So ye shall know that I am Yahweh your Eloheinu, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy. So then shall Jerusalem be holy. So it ain't now. There shall no strangers pass through her any more, which is going on right now. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters, and a fountain shall come forth out of the house of Yahweh, and shall water the valley of Shittim. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for Yahweh dwelleth in Zion. Amen to that. All right, so let's finish up 16, verse 6 here. So we covered that, right? And so then 15 through 17 we'll finish up. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every freeman hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath has come, and who shall be able to stand? So let's also reason with one another. So they want to be hid from the face of him that sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. The throne is going to be coming down on New Jerusalem. For the great day of his wrath has come, and who shall be able to stand? Let's see. Maybe just a quick, how long does this read? Yeah, it's not that long. So here's the same thing we saw, but in chapter 62 of Enoch, so from the very beginning. And thus Yahweh commanded the kings and the mighty and the exalted and those who dwell on the earth, and said, Open your eyes and lift up your horns if you're able to recognize the elect one. So this is what's happening here. This is the throne is coming down, and he's like asking you if you're going to be able to recognize the elect one. And Yahweh Sevaot seated him on the throne of his glory, and the spirit of righteousness was poured out upon him, and the word of his mouth slays all the sinners, and all the unrighteous are destroyed from before his face. And there shall stand up in that day all the kings, and the mighty, and the exalted, and those who hold the earth, and they shall see and recognize how he sits on the throne of his glory. Right? So this is what we're talking about. Fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. So they're going to see his throne. This is the sixth seal, and they're going to see his throne. And righteousness is judged before him, and no lying word is spoken before him. Here it is again. Here's number 5 or 6. Then shall pain come upon them as on a woman in travail, and she has pain in bringing forth, when her child enters the mouth of the womb, and she has pain in bringing forth. And one portion of them shall look on the other, and they shall be terrified. We just saw that actually in Isaiah 13. Right here. Actually, yeah, here we go. Look at this. So we see the pain of a woman in travail, when she's giving birth, and one portion shall look on the other, and they shall be terrified, and shall be downcast of countenance, and pain shall seize them when they see that Son of Man sitting on the throne of his glory. So what's happening here with the destruction of Babylon? They shall be afraid, pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another, and their faces shall be aflame. So this is the exact same thing, right? One portion of them shall look on the other, and they shall be terrified. Anyways, it's amazing. His word is so clear and easy. Praise Yah. So easy to understand when he gives us the Ruach and gives us the understanding, because all understanding comes from Yahweh, and I believe he is rewarding us for keeping his ways. Praise be to Yahweh. Praise be to Yahweh for any wisdom that we may have. And the kings and the mighty and all who possess the earth shall bless and glorify and extol him who rules over all, who was hidden. For from the beginning the Son of Man was hidden, and the Most High preserved him in the presence of his might, and revealed him to the elect. And the congregation of the elect and the holy shall be sown, and all the elect shall stand before him on that day. So this is... oh, man. This is so awesome. There it is right there. So people have been telling you, right, that, well, it doesn't matter what everybody else says, right? Just look at the word and see what the word says. And all the kings and the mighty and the exalted and those who rule the earth shall fall down before him on their faces and worship and set their hope upon that Son of Man and petition him and supplicate for mercy at his hands. Nevertheless, that Adonai, or that Yahweh Sevaoth will so press them that they shall hastily go forth from his presence, and their faces shall be filled with shame, and the darkness grow deep on their faces, and he will deliver them to the angels for punishment, to execute vengeance on them, because they have oppressed his children and his elect, and they shall be a spectacle for the righteous, and for his elect they shall rejoice over them, because the wrath of Yahweh Sevaot resteth upon them, and his sword is drunk with their blood. We saw this earlier. right? What was that in Ezekiel? I think it was Ezekiel 5, maybe? And the righteous and the elect shall be saved on that day, and they shall never thenceforward see the face of the sinners and the unrighteous. And Yahweh Sevaot will abide over them, and with that Son of Man, right? So Yahweh Sevaot and the Son of Man, so we see the Father and the Son again here, shall they eat and lie down and rise up forever and ever. And the righteous and elect shall have risen from the earth and ceased to be of downcast countenance, and they shall have been clothed with the garments of glory. This is the fine and white linen we were talking about earlier. And these shall be the garments of life from Yahweh Sevaot, and your garments shall not grow old, nor your glory pass away before Yahweh Sevaot. And that is a great way to end tonight. Praise be to Yahweh, brothers and sisters. I pray that this study might have been a blessing to you in some way, and I pray that you learned maybe something, or maybe strengthened something that you already knew. Hang on, this is Justin calling me. Give me just a second. Hello? Hey, I'm still streaming. Okay, I don't know if you were watching the stream and something went wrong. Okay. All right, bye. I'll call you back after I'm done. Bye. Okay. All right. So, sorry about that. Because I got to call Justin after this. So, anyways, I pray it was a blessing for you, brothers and sisters. We are definitely in some trying times, and we all have people to pray for, and trials, tribulations, all kinds of stuff going on. And speaking of Justin, I know he came out with a hard teaching for a lot of you guys, and I'm not going to make any comments on it right now. This topic that he brought up, I'm going to be studying. I'm starting it from scratch. Like, I don't know a single thing, and I'm looking at both sides of it, and I'm going to take my time, and I will let you know what the Ruach has shown me when I'm done. So I don't know if it's going to be days, weeks, or months. It's not going to be years, but it's going to be days, weeks, or months. So let's keep all that back and forth chatter off of this chat for now. I don't know. I don't even know if that's been going on here while I've been talking. But let's remember that regardless of what we think of Paul, if we serve Yahuwah and have come to him through Yahusha and we're keeping his Torah, we are brethren. I don't care what you think about anything else like that, but we are brethren. And please, please, let's treat each other like that. There's a verse that says, here, I don't want to butcher it. First John 4:20 says, if a man say, I love Elohim, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he has seen, how can he love Elohim who he has not seen? Regardless of what you think, Justin is your brother. Regardless of anyone that is going along with what Justin is saying, is still your brother, okay? Regardless of what conclusion I come to, I'm still your brother, all right? So, anyways, yeah. So, with that being said, brothers and sisters, I would love for you all, if you don't mind, maybe just say a quick prayer from my earthly father, my dad. His name is Chaim. He is, I think, on his deathbed. I'm not sure. He's got a tumor in his stomach. He's got a blockage in his stomach because of that same tumor. He's got a blockage in his intestines, and he has kidney failure. And they were going to do surgery to remove the tumor, but because his kidneys are too weak, they don't know if he can endure the surgery or something. So I don't really know what's going on. He lives in California. I was going to fly out and visit him, but I can't even enter the hospital because of this COVID thing. So anyways, here's what I want you to pray for. My dad has rejected Yahuwah. As a lot of you know, I grew up Jewish. My dad was Jewish, but he has since even walked away from Judaism, and he doesn't even believe right now in Yahuwah. So my prayer through this, whether he makes it or doesn't make it, is that he finds Yahweh through this. So I sent him some verses. And I've tried to plant some seeds before, but it just doesn't work. He's really hardened his heart, and I just pray that the few seeds that I've sown can penetrate his heart, and that maybe in his final hours that he can accept Yahweh and accept Yahusha. So it's worth a shot. So if you guys don't mind, I would really appreciate it. And yeah, so thank you for that. I don't ask you guys a whole lot for prayers, but I don't know. Yeah, if you guys, his name is Chaim. If you can pray that maybe in his time of despair, and he knows where he's at right now. He's really scared. I was so stubborn and stiff-necked that I didn't come back to Yahweh through Yahusha until I should have died. Those of you that may know my testimony, there was a time in my life I should have died. So maybe this is where my dad finds him too, and maybe not. I don't know. So regardless, sorry for that. I didn't mean to get worked up. But on a lighter note, this book I just got. This came from recommendation from Brother Justin, and it's called Messianic Prophecies Fulfilled. It's from the HalleluYah scriptures, which I'm going to start paying a lot more attention to the HalleluYah scriptures, to be honest with you. I'm going to start reading it combined with the CEPHER. So, so this has over 300 prophecies that the Messiah fulfilled, Messiah Yahusha fulfilled. And for those of you that are on Patreon, just send me a message, and I'm going to send you one of these. I'm getting a whole bunch of these, so just send me a private message on Patreon, and I will send you one free of charge. So I think this is something that really is such a blessing. And those of you that want to get a copy for yourself, just go to HalleluYah Scriptures, and yeah. I don't know exactly how much they are because they're donation based. So I just sent them a donation and asked for initial order, and I just sent for another order, so I'm getting a whole bunch more. So, anyways, we're still living in interesting times, right? With the lockdown and all that. Talking about opening the place back up, and I don't know how this is gonna go down. No profit, so I have no clue how this is gonna go down. All I'm saying is that this is a time to just get our hearts right before Yahweh, and to root out all sin from our life. I'm still working on some stuff. I'll confess my sin before you guys. I like to eat too much, and my temple isn't. I don't think it looks the way it should be, So there's that. So I don't know. We all have different things that we struggle with. So, anyways, we all have different things to work on, and this is something we all need to work on together. So we're going to finish up with a prayer, the Aharonic blessing. Where did I put my... Where did I put it at? Give me just a second. What did I do with it? Give me just a moment. Tell you what. We'll do a prayer. We'll do a prayer. We'll do the Song of Moshe, which I do believe Exodus 15 is what we'll be singing. It's a song of deliverance, right? So we'll do the prayer, Song of Moshe, and then we'll finish. I'll come back on after the song, and we'll do the Aharonic blessing. So, anyways, so I just want to say shalom to a few of you in the chat. I know I'm way past time. I wanted to stop at 2 hours today. So I just want to say shalom. And for moderators, if any of you moderators in here, and Brother David Shearer does not have your email address, please take note of his email. So Brother David, if you would put your email in there, I do want to have a meeting with you all as to how we're going to proceed going forward with how we handle the chat. We'll just leave it at that. Anyways, Justin, you're crazy. Anyways, so let's bow our hearts to Yahweh. Heavenly Father, Yahweh, the Elohim of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, we just call upon you in Yahusha's name. We just bless you for allowing us to study together like this all across your earth, the four corners of your earth. Thank you for letting us believe in Messiah Yahusha. Thank you for redeeming us back to you through him. Thank you for giving us a hunger for your Torah and a desire to keep your commandments and a desire to leaving Babylon. We just ask you to continue to work on our hearts, Abba. And I just pray, I pray that my dad hears your word and repents and believes in you, believes in Yahusha. I pray that all of our brothers and sisters that are struggling with something, I pray that you help them, you give them strength. I pray that you give all of us strength, Abba, to endure the days to come. And I pray that we all realize that those that love you, that love your Son, and love your Torah, realize that regardless of any other doctrine outside of that, doesn't matter. We're brothers. We can reprove, we can correct, but we're still brothers and sisters. We love you. We bless you in Yahusha's name. And hallelujah. Hallelujah to you. Amen. So let's do the song of Moshe, and then we'll do the Aharonic blessing afterwards. So I'll see y'all in just a moment.
I sing to Yahweh, for he is highly exalted. The horse and its rider he has thrown into the sea. Yah is my strength and song, and he has become my deliverance. He is my El, and I praise him, Elohim of my father, and I exalt him. Yahweh is a man of battle, Yahweh is his name. He has cast Pharaoh's chariots and his army into the sea, and his chosen officers are drowned in the sea of reeds. The depths covered them, they went down to the bottom like a stone. Your right hand, O Yahuwah, has become great in power. Your right hand, O Yahuwah, has crushed the enemy. And in the greatness of your excellence, you pulled down those who rose up against you. You sent forth your wrath, it consumed them like stubble. And with the wind of your nostrils, the waters were heaped up. The floods stood like a wall, the depths became stiff in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I pursue, I overtake, I divide the spoil, my being is satisfied on them. I draw out my sword, my hand destroys them. You blew with your wind, the sea covered them. They sank like lead in the mighty waters. Who is like you, O Yahuwah, among the mighty ones? Who is like you, great in Kodeshah, awesome in praises, working wonders? You stretched out your right hand, the earth swallowed them. In your kindness you led the people whom you have redeemed. In your strength you guided them to your Kodesh dwelling. Peoples heard, they trembled, anguish gripped the inhabitants of Pelasheth. Then the chiefs of Edom were troubled, the mighty men of Moab. Trembling grips them, all the inhabitants of Canaan melted. Fear and dread fell on them by the greatness of your arm. They are as silent as a stone, until your people pass over, O Yahuwah. Until the people whom you have bought pass over. You bring them in and plant them in the mountain of your inheritance, in the place, O Yahuwah, which you have made for your own dwelling, the Mikdash, O Yahuwah, which your hands have prepared. Yahweh reigns forever and ever.
So, brothers and sisters, I forgot to mention we are going to be doing the Torah portion here in about 15 minutes. So just give me a few minutes break and I'll see you in just a bit. But in the meantime, Yevarechecha Yahweh ve'yishmerecha, Ya'er Yahweh panev elecha v'chnuneka, Yisa Yahweh panev elecha ve'ashem lecha shalom. Yahweh bless you and keep you. Yahweh make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Numbers 6:24 through 26. Shabbat shalom, brothers and sisters. We'll see you either in the Torah portion here in about 15 minutes, or we'll see you next week for Revelation 7, the 144,000, my favorite topic to discuss. So until then, we'll see you. Shalom. Shabbat shalom.